Hey, what is up, everybody? My name is Michael, or Kiratze Online. Hopefully you guys are having a great day as usual. I am back with another replay quick play, and this is against Kibler, the big streamer. I was super stoked about this match. Always awesome to go up against streamers, and this is with my Sarlac Aggro deck. And normally Aggro has a pretty bad matchup against Lyonar, but thanks to the Knights or Assassin change, the matchup is 10,000 times better. And I think the deck throws people for a loop, which is awesome. And that was the goal sort of this deck. If you guys don't know the deck for this, I believe I did a deck tech for it on my one of my past videos, I believe. But I'll show the deck list at the very end of the video if you guys are interested in what goes into the deck. But essentially, the goal of the deck is an aggro deck, but it's an aggro control deck. And aggro control is an archetype where it has elements of control and aggro. We're obviously heavier on the aggro side, but we're running Sarlac and Ritual Banishings in this deck. So things that you normally wouldn't find in an aggro deck because they're both slow cards. But I find Sarlac is a good target for Shadow Reflection. It's an ever-present threat, and it's like I said, it throws your opponent for a loop. And it also makes them mulligan for things that normally don't really help against burn decks. They'll look for the Dispels, look for Sunblooms and stuff like that, and while they're looking for that stuff, they're not looking out for their healing, which is what they should be looking for against a deck like ours. And it also allows you to play in a little bit of a combo style where you can double up Shadow Reflections on Sarlac because it's such a sticky threat. It just increases the chances of when you're having something to target with Shadow Reflection. So we're against Kibler, and I'm going to have to go back to see what he says about the matchup because I'm pretty interested to see what his thoughts were on the deck. But we have a really good opener. We have ways to deal with their provoke minions, his provoke minions, and also ways to remove other creatures if need be. Like I said, this is an aggro control deck, so we want to sort of play both sides of the field. Saber Spine Tiger is great for being aggro or control, and we do both. So, obviously, starting with a Flame Blood Warlock, your opponent's going to think it's an aggro deck. Looks for the Martyrdom. Pretty good answer to that. We only get minimal healing out of that, but he doesn't progress his board. So that's the nice thing about Flame Blood Warlock is it forces your opponent to look for an answer. More people are teching in Blood Tier Alchemist, though, so it's a little bit of a tougher opener to stick. But we got the Sarlac, which he probably confuses him a little bit. He is hovering over things. Opening up with a Flame Blood Warlock and following up with a Sarlac the Eternal is not something you normally would see in a burn deck. And we have a really, really great hand going on. We got some ways to buff up Sarlac if we want to help trades. And we also have buffs and burn, and we got everything we need. Really, Knights or Assassins the biggest card in this matchup because the amount of tempo you're going to be gaining from being able to kill an Ironclave Guardian or even just being able to kill a Silver Guard Knight so you can push more damage. That's really important. So I like my hand overall here. Now, this was a little bit of a tough decision. There was a couple of ways I could have gone about this. I could have used Primus Fist, buff up Sarlac, hit, and then hit with my General. That would be fine. The tough thing about this is that there's nothing really that we could have done very well, and we don't need the Shadow Reflection right now, so I'm going to throw it away. I do want to keep the Void Pulse, though, because you do use your health as a resource in this matchup, and also it just creates more pressure, and it's very, very easy to fill out your curve with that card, and also against Arclight Regalia, it's a good way to just ping it off, and that's another thing about Sarlac as well. It does help pinging artifacts as well, since it's an ever-present threat. We get some pretty good Sarlac spawns in this game, and I move over. Let me just turn this down a little bit. I move over so I can block him off from going and walking up to get close to the mana tile. This way he has to play 2 creatures if he wants to get to the mana tile. And we're starting to create more pressure thanks to that Void Pulse. Now we have the health advantage, and creating a health advantage is really, really strong. The thing against Lyonar, and this is why this deck's pretty good against Lyonar, is that you play this deck sort of like a combo deck. You don't always just push for face. You'll notice that this is an aggro control deck, and normally people would be throwing Saber Spines to face and Spectral Blades to face, but that's not what we're at. Abyssinian has so many ways to burn out your opponent. If you have to throw some damage into trade and to sort of prolong the game so you can build up to combos and stuff like that, that's perfectly fine. We are running 3 Shadow Reflections, so it's perfectly fine to use those later on, because really if you can just stall and just stack up like 2 Shadow Reflections plus like a Void Pulse or something, plus your general attack, that's a huge amount of damage. And as Kibler will be doing here, he'll be trying to trade health and start to try and get me low as well. Health is a resource, but knowing when to hit and when not to hit is a pretty big thing to learn. Not saying Kibler was wrong in doing that. He does get me fairly low at the end, and it is good to start pressuring as well, since as Lyonar, it is good to use your health as a resource since you have that healing through health drop elixirs, or sun drop elixirs, sorry. So, I don't believe I hit for Zoom game. So, yeah, your opponent's going to be using their health to chip away at your minions and chip away at you. So they're going to be getting themselves low and really getting them to around to the 14, 15 amount of health. You can really easily burst down your opponent thanks to Flame Bloods, Shadow Reflections, and Sarlac's just been super good. An aggro control deck is really, really awesome because you can sort of play both sides of the field, and it's nice. So here comes the first provoke minion, but I don't want to drop Knights or Assassin yet. Really, if you can deal with these cards with what you have on the board and what you have on your hand other than Knights or Assassin, do that. It's much better, and you really want to save these purely for Iron Cliffs. That's the main card you want to save it for. So here, Sarlac's really helping out, able to knock it down to 4 health so we can finish it off with a Spectral Blade, get a little bit of healing, just keep our health pretty high. And we get another good spawn. You want to control the middle of the board throughout most of the game just because it increases your chance of Sarlac being in a relevant spot. That's very important. You don't want to try and push things to one side of the field. So we finish things off, and like I said, we're aggro control. I don't want him to have minions on board. I just want to start controlling, and this also is a card that would just be another thing that can take off a charge of my artifact. And in reality, him hitting my face would be dealing 4 damage, whereas that Saber Spine would just be another 3 damage, potentially. But it is nice to hold those Saber Spines. Don't use all of them, of course, because they can be used as a finisher for Shadow Reflection, and it's your only rush minion, other than Spectral Revenant, but that you can't play alongside Shadow Reflection. And here we're starting to build up some combo pieces. Like this isn't a combo deck, but you have small combos that you can do, and this is why Sarlac's really great. If they don't have the Dispels, it's just a threat you can have that can just double up on Shadow Reflections. So here, if he doesn't play anything like that, we would have had lethal, actually. So we can double up Shadow Reflection. That would have been 15 damage. So here we can still push a lot of damage. And here's where Knights or Assassin comes in. So you're sort of forcing your opponent to play these kinds of plays against Lyonar. At some point, they're going to have to play down their Iron Cliffs. So we're able to get a huge amount of tempo here, drawing all of our Shadow Reflections, and we're able to push a lot of damage here. So here I want to use my last charge to actually hit face, because we are an aggro deck, get him down to 4. Next turn, pretty much regardless of where he goes, if he doesn't heal, we have Flame Blood Warlock plus General Attack to finish him off. And he is going to be able to have Windblade Adept live, but at this point, like in an aggro control deck, you really want to know when to flip on the switch, when to start going face, because you have a lot of finishers in the deck. And really, we're just since we're getting to Spectral Revenant range, in the game, you want to be looking for that Spectral Revenant. And even if he plays another Iron Cliff, we have Ritual Banishing as well as Sarlac to be able to kill off anything. So here he gets me fairly low. I try to calculate if he had like Divine Bond plus Holy Immolation. That wouldn't have killed me though. So he does have the Holy Immolation, but he doesn't have Divine Bond or anything like that. Is able to kill off the Knights or Assassin, but the healing that he has from here is not enough. We had plenty of ways to kill him this turn, and yeah, overall the deck did exactly what it was supposed to do. And you'll notice we are at 7 health, but in an aggro deck, really your health is not too relevant. Void Pulses and Emerald Rejuvenators and stuff like that is really only there to give you enough sustain to just keep pushing face. But as you saw, we did a lot of controlling in that game, especially Lyonar and Vanar. Those are the 2 of the main matchups where it's just all about board control, minimizing Divine Bond targets, minimizing Razorback targets, because like I said, your opponent's going to be grinding their health down, and your opponent's going to be grinding their health down, and our health is going to be relatively the same, give or take, just because we're going to be pushing a lot of damage with our own General's face as well. Really, there's a lot of out-of-hand damage as in this deck, though, and trying to just pressure them into looking for different kinds of removal and looking for the dispels rather than healing is a nice thing I like about this deck. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of different things you can do with it, and like you guys will probably like never ever get me playing a full face deck. If I do, it'll be like for a couple of games, but I like to have some control over games, and an aggro control deck is right up my alley. And if this kind of deck interests you guys, if you guys like aggressive decks but like to keep control of the game relatively well, this is the kind of deck for you. I think it has a lot of ways. If you enjoy big bursty turns, there's a lot of times where it's just Sarlac's on the board, double up Shadow Reflection, and then attach a Spectral Blade or something in the late game, and it's just a huge amount of damage. So it's like an aggro control deck, and you're just building up slowly to different kinds of mini combos, utilizing out-of-hand damage like Void Pulse, Flameblood Warlock, Spectral Blade, Saber Spine. You have a lot of ways to finish off the game, and then you have Red of the Undervault if you happen to run out of gas. But really, because you're not throwing everything out there and throwing your whole throwing your whole hand towards their face, you generally don't. You generally only need Red of the Undervault in the late game for like doing a small combo and then filling up your hand to look for more pieces of your damage. But that's pretty much it. So here's the list. I will look back on my videos. If I don't have a deck tech for this, then I will definitely make a video of it, but I'm pretty sure I do if you want to check that out. Otherwise, yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that game. And right after the game, I jumped onto Kibler's stream because he was streaming at that time, and I heard the words, "Oh, guess we're not 100% win rate anymore." So sort of feel bad about that, but it was a good game, Kibler. It was a pretty close game, and yeah, it's awesome going up against the streamers. It's a lot of fun, especially since you can look back on their VODs and see what they, what they thought about the plays and what they thought about the game. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys have a great night, day, morning. Oh, also, I apologize. I've been sort of dead lately. The Division came out, and I am just super into the Division. Videos might be a little bit slower over the next little while, but I'm have some plans. I am thinking about doing a month stream challenge, streaming every day for a month. So definitely follow my Twitter and be on the lookout for that. You can find all that information down below, and also my Twitch channel, so you can prepare for the awesomeness that is about to come. I have not been streaming, but I will get to that definitely, because I do miss it. But life comes first, and I just got to get my shit together, in all honesty. And I'm sure I'll release some sort of vlog or replay ramblings talking about that stuff. But other than that, hopefully you guys have a great night, day, morning, wherever you are, and I will talk to you guys later.